Hey guys, welcome to Cat Jam in the Car. Today we have a special guest, Samantha.
Hello.
Hi. She's one of my favorite female comedians. I watched her on Amazon, and then last time we did a show together, I was like, I watched you on Amazon. I love your stand-up comedy. I love your style.
Thank you. It's so funny because when you shoot a special and then years later you watch it, you're like, God, I should have done this, or I punched that joke up, or it's so hard to watch yourself.
Yeah, I understand because I know lots of artists that don't like watch themselves. Like, they don't watch playback. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
But I love lots of your jokes. I get it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's
good.
pretty funny because it's very LA. I think people from LA, they get the jokes.
Yeah, people from LA, I think we're pretty cool. We're like the unicorns that are just very mellow. We grew up with this shit, so we're just used to it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I speak to another comedian like 2 days ago as well. She's also born and raised in LA. We talk about like people think, lots of LA people has this bad reputation. I think it's not like they're from LA.
Right.
Yeah.
It's people who move here with like the concept of LA, the idea of what they're supposed to be like, and they get caught up in kind of the superficial side of it.
Exactly, yeah.
Whereas we're here, we're like, yeah, whatever. Oh, look, it's Drew Barrymore at Whole Foods. Cool.
Right. And it's like a more grounded, right? And then
Yeah.
more, like, it's like, I hate it. Some people say, oh, I'm so LA. You're not LA, right? It's like, they're trying to pretend to be LA.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, people move to LA not to make genuine connections and settle down and meet someone and all that. They come to LA to pursue art, whether it be making films or painting or acting or singing. It's kind of like it puts us all in this little narcissistic bubble in a way where you have to focus on yourself in order to get work.
Yeah, I think also people, they were trying to like be LA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Samantha, tell us, how did you start your comedy?
I never thought I was going to be a comedian. To tell you the truth, I did not grow up like admiring comics and wanting to be that. It just kind of happened to me in a way.
Right.
Long story short, so I come from a family of actors, so I thought I'm going to be an actor. That's what I have to do.
Like drama, you mean?
So my grandfather, I don't know if you're familiar with the show Gilligan's Island.
I think I heard about that.
Yeah,
I never
sitcom
watched
from '64,
Okay.
but it's kind of like, well, I'm sure many people would know.
Yeah, the other people definitely know.
Yeah, so my grandfather played the skipper on that show.
Oh, wow.
And then his father was in all the early swashbuckler movies with like Betty Davis and Errol Flynn, and so they go way back. So me as a kid, I put this insane pressure on myself, like I have to be that successful or I'm a failure.
Wow.
I don't know why I did that. But so I was pursuing acting, and the thing about acting is that no matter how hard you work, sometimes it's out of your control.
Yeah.
It's what you
Lots
look
of
like,
luck.
who you
Yeah.
know, luck. So I was just feeling really frustrated, and one day my friend said, I have tickets to the Women of Chelsea Lately at the Laugh Factory tonight. Do you want to go? And I said, yeah, that sounds great. So I went, and it was like Jen Kirkman, Sarah Colonna, Heather McDonald, Natasha Leggero, just an insane lineup.
Oh, yeah, I like all those female
Yeah,
comics.
and I just remember watching them and thinking, they're so confident, they have opinions, they know who they are, they're not afraid of people yelling at them. I was just so enamored by how empowering it felt to me. And I talked to Natasha Leggero afterwards a little bit, and she mentioned this, it used to be a show, and then it turned into a school called Pretty Funny Women, which is, Lisa Sunstedt runs it. She teaches women how to do stand-up.
Okay.
So I took it like on a whim, just as a hobby, fun thing. And many years later, I'm still here.
Wow. So do you still remember your first, like, stage, like, open mic experience? Did you do, like, open mic? Like
Open mics that probably blocked those out. I remember my first show ever.
Right.
My first show ever was at the Comedy Union down on Pico, if you've ever been there. I was so nervous. I mean, I was so terrified to do my 5 minutes. I was like up until the few days before, I was just pacing back and forth, running my lines over and over. I was so nervous.
Right.
But it wound up working out really well. I did good because I had gone to all the open mics and knew that I wasn't naturally the funny one in the class, so I had to work really hard for it.
So you like already kind of took lots of like a comedy writing class.
Yeah.
You already knew what you're doing, right?
Like she taught us joke structure and how to compose jokes and what a punchline is, what a tag is, what a setup should be like.
Yeah. So you basically came up on stage already know what I'm doing, because I know like some comedians that get on like open mic, lots of them
And they have no idea what they're
no
doing.
clue, right? They just
Yeah.
think, oh, I want to do comedy. Everyone thinks they can do comedy.
Yeah.
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 That's kind of like last time I spoke to like Johnny Bath, and he mentioned about it. He said like people don't know this is art form.
It is.
Yeah, some people think, oh, I can go get on stage. I just
No.
think people just have this misconception, right? Yeah.
Being funny naturally with your friends in real life is not the same as being on a stage trying to execute a perfect delivery on a punchline at a certain moment.
Right.
It's like trying to capture lightning in a bottle, you know, and that you have to know how to do it.
Right. Do you feel like the more you do this, the harder you feel like, or you should think it's easier?
For like stand up,
Yeah.
it gets easier for me.
Yeah.
Because I've done the work, I've practiced a lot. And I think the best thing about being on stage as often as possible is that the more you're on it, the more comfortable you are, right? And also the less you beat yourself up, the less hard you are on yourself.
Right.
Because you start to realize, well, you know what? If this joke bombs, okay, well, I'll figure out how to fix it. It's not the end of the world. But when you're a new comic and you don't have a good set, you just feel awful. Like when I was maybe a year and a half, 2 years into comedy, I wound up on this lineup. It was insane. It was like Maria Bamford, Retta, Tig Notaro. I had to follow Tig, and I bombed so hard I didn't get out of bed the next day. Like to follow someone as insanely amazing as Tig when you're brand new and you're nervous and you don't know what you're doing. I ate shit. You know, I really did. I did, and I thought I should just quit comedy. Now I laugh. I think it's funny now. But at that time, it destroyed my soul. Now, if I do a joke and someone doesn't like it, I'm like, okay, well, you didn't like it. That's okay. Not everyone has to like me.
Yeah, so you think you have like a thicker skin to deal with the situation now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Samantha, do you see yourself like as like a tour comedian or the type of comedian getting TV and film or SNL late night talk show kind of comedian in next 10 years?
It's a good question. And I think that's a really hard question because sometimes you ask some comics are like, I know exactly what I want. I want to work as a feature on the road, and then I want to move up to a headliner on the road. Some people are like, I'm working on my late night packets. For me, I just recently in the last year came up with this new direction for myself. I kind of came up with this rebranding. So I run a show at the Hollywood Improv called Horror Nerd, and it's all scary movie material, and it's all horror. I love scary movies, like
Right.
and I did that kind of just for fun, and then I realized, wow, I have this really cool thing going here. And I was writing new material for every show. So then I realized I have a bunch of new material, and I turned it into a special, which I just shot.
Oh, tell us about that.
I'm excited about it. It's going to be called Horror Nerd. And yeah, I know.
That's your brand.
My brand is like, I want to be like, oh, that's the horror comic.
Yeah.
Not horror with a WH, but you know, like that's the scary movie comic that likes to because I grew up watching Elvira and Vampira and Morticia Addams. And so I would love to carve out a little world for myself where I'm like a horror host. You know?
Yeah, I think that's very cool though, because that's kind of like your niche, right? You can stand out. Like there are so many comics out there. That's kind of like your niche. People are like, you say, oh wow, yeah. When we saw Samantha, we know that's you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because no one else is doing that. Which I'm like, why aren't there more comics doing this?
Yeah.
I mean, there are like a group of us who love comedy. Like Dana Gould is amazing. Jamie Kennedy, obviously.
Oh, I just did a show with Jimmy Kennedy.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, he's so nice. He's just really nice. And so he's going to do my show hopefully next month, which will be really cool to have someone from one of the most successful horror films ever, Scream, to have him on, you know, my little show is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So like, Samantha, where did you shoot your special?
At the Hollywood Improv. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. The main room.
Yeah, and we did it in the lab, so we decided to do 2 shows in the lab and just pack it out. I mean, that room I just love that room so much. It's a really special place to me.
It's kind of intimate.
It's very intimate, and I mean, the Improv has been so kind and supportive and amazing. Like Ree, who is the booker there, she's one of the nicest, most wonderful people ever. Yeah. She's so great. So she went out of her way to let me do that, and I'll always be grateful for that.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
So when I'm going to see this? Like, you know, it's going to be on which
Good
platform?
question. I don't know.
Still in post?
Yeah, we're close to the first cut.
Okay.
But my friend Tom, who directed it, he's such a perfectionist that I know that it's going to go through like different screenings and different cuts and edits and whatnot. But I mean, hopefully our goal is Netflix. That's everyone's goal, right? Yeah. But we're just gonna pitch it to every streaming platform and see.
Yeah, there's so many
Yeah.
platform those days, right?
Yeah, because like even something like Shudder would be perfect for us as
Mhm.
well, which is a streaming app that's just all scary movies and all really niche
yeah.
content.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people would love to see something so different because it's
Yeah.
not just like stand-up show, right?
Right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
I can't wait to see that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
almost kind of gave it almost like a one-woman show kind of a vibe as well. Like, are you familiar with Carrie Fisher from Star Wars?
Yeah.
So her one-woman show called Wishful Drinking, it's written jokes, that there are many punchlines throughout it, but it's also very intimate, very personal. It's about her life and her family, and so that's kind of what I did, just my relationship with horror and my family's relationship with horror.
Wow, since you
Yeah.
grew up in, I didn't know you grew up in such like acting family.
I did, yeah.
So what's it
Yeah.
like growing up? Like
It was just normal for me. I
Right.
don't know. I forget that, oh my God, people were like a huge fan of my grandfather, which is really cool. And I get messages from people all the time like, oh my God, I loved your grandpa so much. Can we be friends? And I've gotten some not so great messages from weird
Your
guys.
fans, like your grandpa's fans,
Yeah.
still messaging you.
Yeah. It's an iconic American television series that, I mean, I
Wow.
don't know that it's huge in every country, but in America at least,
Yeah.
it's a huge, everyone knows it.
Yeah.
You can watch whatever random television show or movie and they'll have a little Gilligan's Island reference in there. Still to this
Wow.
day.
So it's like he's sort of like kind of legend, right?
Yeah.
Our time, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah,
Do you
it
think
kinda
that shape you, kind of like you want to become like actress later on?
Oh yeah, that definitely made me want to do it.
So
For
like
sure. Mm-hmm.
you watch your grandfather, you were like, oh, when you grow up, you want to do that, right? Yeah. So like, do you still see yourself later on get in like TV and film, like kind of from like comedians, get in that route?
I mean, I would love any opportunity that came my way. You know, if that were to happen again, absolutely, I would love to. I mean, I was so passionate about it for years. I studied theater and I did all of that, and I do love it. I just got frustrated with the process.
You mean
And then
like
when I
the
found-
auditioning?
Yeah. Yeah, and then when I found stand-up, I'm just like, oh, I just fell in love, and it just felt better for me.
Yeah, I feel like as stand-up comedian, you have more control where you wanted to go, right? But I feel like an actress, you just basically you have to go to audition, like you said. There are so many reasons.
Yeah,
You may not
it's
get
more
picked.
out of your control. I
Yeah.
think.
So like for the special you did, like did you like write everything on your own, like kind of create it? What's the process of doing that?
Yeah, so I mean, it's, you write a joke here and there, and then you kind of build a chunk, and then eventually you have a bunch of different chunks, and you try to figure out how to put them together in a cohesive hour that makes sense. And I tried to put kind of like an arc to it, a story to it. Of started when I was younger, my first major experiences, this and that. But they just started as individual jokes. I would just say, like, so every show has a theme. Like, for example, this theme this month is teen screams, meaning like any movie where teenagers get slaughtered, like Scream or Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Prom Night, Carrie, all those movies. So I would be like, okay, well, I have to write 3 or 4 new jokes for this specific theme. So, and that's what I would do every show. So once a month, I would write 3 or 4 new jokes that are just scary movie themed. And then I realized, oh, I have this whole library of stuff. So then when I realized I wanted to shoot the special, I had to construct it and put it together. And that's the hard part.
Right.
That's when you have to pull every single joke from every different email you've emailed yourself or note on your phone or document you have on your laptop. You have to actually find it all, put it together, and then try to build chunks so that they kind of make sense of like, okay, this is about this is about this, and then time it and find out where you're at time-wise, and then either add more or cut it down depending on where you're at. But I think I had like an hour and 20 minutes of stuff, and then I was like, well, just because you have an hour and 20 minutes of stuff doesn't mean it's all good. So then I had to start really workshopping it. I even started going to mics again. I went to mics. Every show that I did, I would try jokes that I wasn't sure if they were really strong enough yet. And then I would just edit. I want to say it took 9 drafts before I had anything I liked.
Wow. So you definitely spend lots of time to get this done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love like a horror concept as well. Actually, I did like this immersive theater
Oh, really?
for The Purge, the movie.
I love The Purge.
Yes,
Yeah.
I I love Halloween, and we did an immersive theater for that because it's produced by House, right?
Yeah.
They put it on this huge building downtown. I work on that show for
That is
almost
so
a month.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it's definitely interesting. Like how like they kind of adapt the film into like immersive theater. So
That would be like a dream job.
you like
Oh
it?
my God, yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, totally. I think they're still doing that every Halloween. I will hook you up next time. Yeah,
fun.
it's like
Yeah.
a whole month, but it's like every single day you're doing the same thing. I remember, what's that actor? It's Andy. I forgot his last name, but he came almost every night because he's a huge fan like horror
I
stuff.
love that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, just like scare people. It's different from like the Universal Studio, their horror nights, because they have like a whole concept. Like every actor has like storyline, has a character to play as well.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
I'm all about all that stuff. Like October is like my Christmas for sure.
Your favorite holiday is also Halloween?
Oh yeah, hands down. None of the other holidays matter to me.
Yeah, I love Halloween because I was born in China. We don't have like Halloween. After I moved to America, I was like, I love Halloween. I'm like, this is the best.
It is. It really is. There's no pressure to it. There's no like Christmas. It's the family and the presents and the traveling and all that. New Year's Eve, it's like, oh well, if I'm single, then I'm miserable. But
Right.
Halloween, it's just fun.
Still your favorite holiday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you normally do like Halloween? Just dress up, go to Halloween parties?
I do something different. I celebrate for like 2 months, right? So I'll just go to every single haunted hayride or haunted maze or like special scary movie. Like one year for Halloween, I saw Psycho with a full orchestra, which was insane. It was so cool to hear the music as the movie is playing.
Oh, wow.
Done that. Last year I actually went to Halloween Horror Nights on Halloween, which was fun because I'd never gone on actual Halloween night. But I feel like there's just kind of a spark in the air, and the actors are in a good mood because the season's almost done. They're like, whatever. What are you going to do, fire us?
Yeah, that's the best night because like you pretty much have to do, when we do that Purge immersive theater, you have to do it every night. Like it's like for a whole month. Like, oh my gosh, every day is the same thing. And then like you have to put on 4 shows per night.
It's a lot.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I'm over it. But like Halloween night, like you said, it's special.
It's just a good mood.
Yeah, everyone just come here. It's going to be a fun one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were you like this year, like Halloween?
Well, I couldn't dress up because you're not supposed to dress up when you go to the Halloween Horror Nights. Like you're not allowed to.
Right.
Only the actors do. But I've done Sally from like Jack and Sally, Nightmare Before Christmas. I've done Wendy from The Shining. I've done Nancy from The Craft.
Right.
Or just like random skeleton dead girl. Depends on like how much effort I'm in the mood to make.
Do you make your own costume as well?
Usually.
Yeah, I have a friend that she make all her costumes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
God, I wish I could sew. I can't even sew a button.
Yeah, I cannot sew. I cannot, knit.
But I do have friends who sew, thank goodness. I'm friends with a lot of drag queens.
Oh, yeah.
So that helps.
They're so good at it, right?
Oh, yeah. I had, my friend Chad Michaels, who was on RuPaul's Drag Race, he won, actually. He's, like, one of my favorite people on the planet. Him and his husband, Adam, they're, like, family to me. And Adam makes all of the costumes. So when I knew that I was going to do this special, I was like, well, obviously I need a custom dress. Hello. So I called Adam and I said, I want like Wednesday Addams meets Morticia Addams meets Elvira. And he was like, ooh, yeah, let's throw in the craft in there too. And he came up with the most beautiful dress I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah, and I wore it. Yeah.
Just made it for you.
He made it custom, like got my measurements and built it for me.
Wow, that's the best, right? Because it's like made for you. Like, it fits perfectly.
Like a glove.
Yeah, because I remember like your Amazon special. I watched that, and then was it shot some like a place in Long Beach somewhere?
In North Hollywood. It's called Acme, and it's not there anymore. Unfortunately, they didn't make it through the pandemic.
All right.
But it was such a beautiful space.
Yeah.
Just such a nice theater.
Because I didn't remember you mentioned about a drag show or something in that special.
Oh, I may have. I talked. So, I don't want to say my brand, but kind of one of my original things that made me unique as a comic was I still am. I was a straight girl. I still am straight. Not thrilled about it. Still am straight, not thrilled. But I was like, this straight girl working with drag queens and opening a lot of drag shows and touring with drag queens. And so that kind of became, like, somebody one day said to me, oh, you're like the Chelsea Handler of West Hollywood. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. That's a huge compliment.
Yeah, that's how I remember your Amazon special.
Yeah, there's a lot of material about what it was like having drag queens as friends.
Yeah, I've only been to drag show once in Long Beach years ago. I think I was working
Hamburger Mary's, maybe?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot what's the name. And yeah, Long Beach is so different. I did a show at Long Beach Laugh Factory last night. I feel like crowd are so different from Hollywood.
Oh, very different.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
have you like gone like tour a lot?
Yeah, I've toured quite a bit. I need to get back into it. I think because once the world opened up again, I got this idea for Horror Nerd, and then I was like, okay, well, I want to focus on that, and I was pitching it as a series as well, and so that kind of took my attention. But once this special is out, that's 100% our plan.
Yeah. So is there
tour
like
like
your
crazy.
favorite place to tour? Do you feel like is it different to perform in Hollywood compared to perform somewhere else?
Oh God, yeah. Every city is so different.
Right.
Like the material that you can do in LA versus what you can do in Phoenix, two different things. What you can do in LA versus San Francisco, two different things. You know, like Phoenix, like I have jokes that in LA, people are very, like, audiences here are very, I don't want to say sensitive, but you know what I mean? Like sometimes they're like, oh, well, you're not allowed to say that anymore. And you're like, oh, okay, well, wow, all right. It's, you know, so you kind of have to be careful because you don't want to rub people the wrong way. Because sometimes people hear trigger words and they assume that you're saying something that you're not actually saying. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like, so LA is a little bit trickier. Phoenix, I noticed that they were okay. I couldn't do anything dark in Phoenix. Like, no, I have a Ted Bundy
really?
joke, and I could not do it.
Why?
They just got real uncomfortable.
You mean Phoenix is very kind of like conservative in some
Yeah,
way?
they're kind of, it was a lot of, and it also depends on the crowd. Like, I was, you know, if it was that particular show was some kind of like older conservative, mostly white people. So what they think is funny is very different than what an LA crowd thinks is funny. You know, like in LA, I can do all my drag stuff. I can do all my dark serial killer stuff. But they don't really get that in Phoenix. Like that just wasn't their crowd.
Right.
Do you know, it was weird. So I was like, okay, well, let's go to the sex stuff, the dating stuff, the kind of more like, you know.
Generic jokes, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I don't mean to, that was just that specific crowd. Like, but then again, had I gone to another venue in Phoenix, maybe that stuff would have worked. I don't know. San Francisco, they're very smart. They're kind of highbrow there. They don't want dumb jokes.
So intelligent kind of jokes. Yeah.
They like the thinking kind of a joke.
Oh.
They like to think. They like that. Whereas if you go to Las Vegas, they don't want to think. They're drunk. They're gambling. They just want to laugh and have a good time. They don't want to, like, think about social issues and things like that. They're hammered.
Right.
You
yeah.
know?
So have you done like shows in New York City? Do you think the New York comedy scene is different from LA as well, right?
I mean, I love New York. I want to get back there as soon as I can, actually. I love New York so much. I don't know. I mean, I would say they're similar. Again, smart audiences. But it also, like, I did this show, last time I was in New York, I did a place called Broadway Comedy Club. And we realized that they were handing out, like, free tickets in Times Square. So all these tourists were getting these free tickets. And tourists in New York might not necessarily be comedy audiences, you know? They're like, oh, it's free, we'll go. So they're a different kind of crowd, if that makes sense. Like, it's people who maybe aren't used to seeing stand-up.
Right.
So they were tougher. And they didn't get all the references because a lot of them were not American.
Or could be like international travelers because the sense of humor is hard to translate.
Right.
Yeah, like culture different stuff.
Exactly. And sometimes they just don't know references. Like, for example, when I was in Scotland doing shows, I have a joke. This is so dark. It's so dark. I'm sorry. But I have a joke about taking my mom to Disneyland in an Advil bottle. Her ashes. It's a whole joke about taking her ashes to Disney. Which it's dark, but it's fucking funny. Sorry, but it is.
I like it.
But I realized when I was in Scotland, I can't say Advil. They don't have Advil there. It was called paracetamol. I had to say, oh, I took my mom in a paracetamol bottle. Like, they, you know, I had to explain to them what Advil was.
Wow, it's good. You kind of like, sort of like when you perform at different country, you have to kind of research, right? It's a very, like, being a comic is like, you're sort of like a scholar.
You are. And age makes a huge difference, too. Like, I have a whole chunk on music. I love music, so I talk a lot about going to concerts and different bands that I've seen. If I'm in a room of 20-year-olds and I do a Fleetwood Mac joke, they don't really know. Like, so, like, are you, I don't know if you're familiar, but, well, obviously, but Stevie Nicks. Do you have, like, not everyone if you're 20 something, you grew up with different music than I did.
Yeah.
You know, so if I do a joke about Alanis Morissette, they might not get it.
Yeah, the age, difference. Yeah.
Yeah, like I tried to do a Nirvana joke a while ago. They didn't know. Some guy was like, "Is that like a sushi restaurant?" I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake."
Different, like Jinsei, and they're different.
Yeah, or they think that Nirvana is just like a t-shirt that you can buy from Target. They don't realize it's an actual band, you know?
Yeah, I think I heard about the band. I don't even know what music they do.
Yeah.
But I heard about the name. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's, you know, I don't know. And certain movies that I grew up with, you know, other people, you know, as someone in their 20s wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So.
Is there like your favorite club here in LA like to play? Or just like...
I mean, obviously I'm very biased, the Improv.
Oh yeah, like Improv, right?
Yeah, but I mean all the big clubs are great. You know, the Store is amazing. Has such a different energy than the Laugh Factory versus... They all have their own energy, which is really cool.
I just realized, even like in different area, like Laugh Factory Hollywood, Laugh Factory Long Beach are so different. Yeah, like another comedian before you get here, and he even talked about how Irvine Improv is so different from Hollywood Improv.
Oh, 100% different.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
So different.
Irvine, the difference between Brea and Hollywood? Oh my God, night and day. So, excuse me, I ran my full hour at Brea before we taped, like 2 days before we taped in Hollywood. And I went in there knowing this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be tough because it's kind of an older conservative town, right? So some of my stuff is even in the special, some of it's very like, you know, I believe I'm pro-choice, I believe in empowering women, and that kind of material might not always go over in a conservative room of older guys, you know? So I noticed that jokes that would crush in Hollywood got like a weird response in Brea. And I also noticed specifically that the women loved it. The men were kind of uncomfortable. It was very strange. It was hard. It was a challenge to get through that.
Wow. Yeah. So even every improv is different, right? At different regions.
Yeah, because I figured, well, I mean, if it were a normal show and I wasn't specifically running my hour to prepare for a taping, I would have just been like, okay, well, they don't like this material. Let me do something else to get them to get on board with me. I didn't have that option, right? Because I'm running my tight hour.
Right.
So I just had to push through it and try to get them on board as best as I could while sticking to the material I had intended to do.
Yeah, but I feel like for your show, like Hollywood Improv seems like a perfect spot,
It's
right?
so perfect.
Yeah, people get this type of jokes, right?
Yeah.
Horror thing.
Yeah, being in West Hollywood, I mean, especially because I book mostly women and LGBTQ plus comedians.
Oh yeah, my friend Amanda did a show. Amanda
Oh,
Michelle.
good. Yeah, she crushed it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's really funny. I love her.
Yeah, so that brings out, you know, people who are going to be supportive of us weird comics who talk about not the usual stuff.
Yeah, because Amanda is also a huge fan of Halloween. Actually, she did my show, Halloween show at Bourbon Room this year. I had her host it. She was dressed up. But it's really fun.
Oh, I love the Bourbon Room. That's such a good
Bourbon Room
place.
is great. Yeah, I love the energy there, and the main stage. You know, it's perfect.
It's a great spot.
So, all right. So, we're gonna do a little bit game.
Ooh.
Yes,
Okay.
I know. And what is the deal breaker of your relationship?
Oh my God. The last guy that I dated, everything about him was a deal breaker now that I look back at it. But you know when you're so into someone and you don't see the red flags and you're just like, no, it's fine. I would say if a guy, it's true. If a guy tells you who they are, you got to listen, you got to believe them. If a guy says, well, I really like you, I don't know if I'm ready for a relationship, but I want to try it anyway, then no. If they come in already being like, I'm really broken and I don't know, but I want it, I'm just like, okay, no. I can't
So you
do
want
that
a
again.
guy who know what he wants,
Yes.
right? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. A guy who's like, I like you, I want you, I'm going to go after you.
Yeah.
Not, well, I don't know, there's this other girl too. No. If there's another choice, choose her.
Yeah, totally.
I learned that the hard way.
Right.
For sure.
Definitely. I think especially as a female comic, you want like this guy, like will be able to handle you, right?
I get real subconscious about that because I know like I'm a lot. Like we're a lot. We're big personalities.
Yeah.
Right? But the right guy won't be threatened by that. He won't. He'll just be like, cool, you do you and I'll do me, and together we'll do our own thing together. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think is it harder for female comics to date
Yeah, I think
compared
so.
to male comics?
I think so. Well, you don't really, you know the term chuckle fuckers.
Yeah.
You know, female comics don't really have chuckle fuckers. Guys do.
Yeah, because like the other a male comic was here earlier. He said he's not attractive at all, but he said so he got doctors, got all the hot girls throwing themselves at him. As he said he's a high school dropout. He's not attractive. Like I'm like you get all the girls.
Because women love funny men.
Yeah.
Women love that. I love funny men for sure. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
But I think I mean I don't know. I don't want to make this assumption on men's behalf, but perhaps some guys might be like, well, they might be bitches, or oh, they're gonna talk about me, they're gonna make fun of me.
Right.
I don't know if you get this question, but I've gotten many times from different people. Oh, are you gonna put that in your act? You gonna write about me?
Oh my gosh, I hate guys say that as well.
Don't give me a reason to write about you.
Yeah.
Please don't. I don't want to write about you. I want to write about anything but you, because I just want to enjoy you and have a good time with you, and or maybe I write like good things. Like I just started seeing someone now and I do really like him. So I wrote a joke about how you like a guy when he invites you to a 3-hour movie and you still wear a thong. Like that's a long time to be flossing your own asshole, right?
Right.
So that's a good joke. I'm like, it's a joke about how much I like you.
Yeah, because I think getting in their head, they're so concerned, like, you know, kind of affect like how they want to just get to know you organically, right?
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes it depends on the guy, but some guys want to be the funny one or they want to be the attention. But then again, there are really incredible men out there too who would be nothing but supportive of a woman who's shining. Yeah. You just gotta find someone.
Would you date a male comic?
I've just nope, never again. No, I've made a rule for myself. I made a rule for myself. No comics and no one who works at a club. Just don't. It's just complicated.
Yeah, it's kind of like you date your coworker and then like if you guys don't date anymore, it's kind of awkward to run into each other, right?
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. Some people can do that. I mean, once kind of the sting is removed from the situation, or sometimes it ends amicably and that's fine. But yeah, it's just no, I don't want to do that again. And I had a male comic, a friend of mine who I completely admire, Mike Falzone, who I think is so fucking great. We were talking the other day and he was like, Sam, no comics. And I'm like,
comics.
Yeah, I know, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
You need someone different from you, right? Like,
But also I get the question a lot of like, oh, well, male comics are probably all like gross, huh? And I'm like, no, not the comics in my world. There are some incredible men out there. Are you kidding me? I'm just not going to date them.
Yeah, you don't want to complicate everything. Yeah. All right, so Sam, another question. Fun one. Yeah. Who is the person you would call if you end up in jail?
Ooh, the first person that came to mind was my friend Jackie Steele, who's also a comedian, and she's just a bigger asshole than me, and the funniest person I know. I would call my friend Jackie. She's a sassy little monster.
That's good. And she had the money to bail you out.
Oh, that part. I didn't think about that. Who has money who would bail me out?
I'm just joking because I was talking to another female comic that day. She said she would call Nikki Glaser. I was like, because their friend.
Oh, she has the money. She can afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
That is not a bad idea.
Yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, you have that friend you can count on. Also, this friend has money to bail you out.
Forgot about the money parts. Jackie would find it though.
Yeah, maybe she would. Yeah.
She would get that money one way or another.
She's a real friend then, right? That's good. It's good to have someone you can count on. All right. Yeah. One last question is that if you can only choose one type of food to eat for the rest of your lifetime, what would it be?
So rude. Do calories count?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, in LA counts.
I mean, I don't know. It's so hard. Like, I feel like I could definitely live off of burritos, but I could definitely live off of sushi. But then I would need a bowl of pasta.
You're like, cannot just be one, right? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe burritos. But like good ones, like with everything in it, you know, like that.
Breakfast.
The good. I mean, like guacamole and steak and rice and all the good stuff.
Yeah, that is a good choice. Yeah, because it has everything, right? Burrito has rice, have like meat, have veggies, and pretty much everything. Cheese.
And veggies. I would put vegetables in it.
Yeah, so that I don't. That is a good choice. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Now I want a burrito.
Yeah, I choose sushi, but I realized, oh yeah, that's kind of like whatever.
Well, the problem is that you'd always be hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? But God, sushi's the best thing ever.
It is. I can eat sushi every day. It's just so expensive. Like you know, it's like, you know, you if you want to have like or make you feel full, you're like, oh,
You have to eat a lot of it.
eat
I
a
know.
lot. Yeah, but it's so good.
Which I'm happy to do.
Yeah. By the way, what's your favorite sushi restaurant here in LA?
God, why am I blanking? There's one by my house that I always go to. Why am I blanking? Katsuya.
Yeah, Katsuya is good. Yeah, like their yellowtail jalapeno.
Yeah.
So
Oh
good.
my God. Anything with yellowtail spicy got me in.
So good.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, we're gonna play a fun game. This is gonna be end of the show. So this is
Oh my God, that's so hilarious because I just bought that and made this guy that I'm seeing play it with me.
yeah, it's so yeah. This is a game like couples play. But
Yeah.
but I play with my guests.
Wait,
you
do
know,
you have a crush
yeah.
on me? Are you doing
Yeah, so I play with all my guests. I think it's a fun one to play. You already know the game.
I'm so down,
Obviously.
yeah.
Icebreaker, deep and deeper. You pick anyone you want.
Oh, so I don't know which one is deeper or whatever.
I think this one is deep, this one is deeper, and this is icebreaker.
So I'll try in the middle. I'll start in the middle then.
You know how freaky? Like the same day, two comics pick the same card.
Out of how many cards in there?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
weird.
That's odd, right?
That's weird.
Yeah.
That was meant to be.
Yeah.
Okay, am I reading this to you?
Yeah.
Okay. If you could have any style haircut, no judgment or repercussions, what would it be?
What it would be?
Well, I wish my hair, I want to grow my hair out long. I would love to, but I have this like thin white lady hair.
But
so
I
it
feel
doesn't
like
get
this
that
is kind
long.
of like make you stand out though. Like, you know, like that's kind of like your style, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like every like, you know, artist has their own style. Because like, say I saw you, I was like, oh, I know that's you.
Oh, because of the hair?
Yeah.
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 You know what's funny is I used to have really long hair and then I started dyeing it blonde and then it was just, you know, when you bleach your hair so often, it just is not healthy.
It is.
So then I was
bad
like,
for
well,
hair.
might as well ruin it more. So then I was purple. I had purple hair for a while and I loved it.
That is fun.
But then one day, one of my drag queen friends, Mariah Paris Balenciaga, she pulled me out. So she's like, sit down. I was like, what? And because she did hair before she did drag, she cut it all off and gave me the Jenny McCarthy super short bob. And I remember like feeling my neck for the first time and crying, like, oh my God. But now I've kept my hair short ever since.
Yeah, because that's kind of like sort of build you as your looks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, people remember you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because hair, believe it or not, is part of our identity as a woman.
Yeah, it is.
People,
totally. People remember you.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's just hair.
Yeah, just like the first thing you pay attention to someone, it's like, oh, that's like the hairstyle you have.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, if I could pull off anything, I would say the person who I think does the coolest stuff with her hair that I've been seeing. Do you know the band Garbage? The singer from Garbage, her name's Shirley Manson. She does like these cool, I don't know, she's just stunning. I love her. I think she's gorgeous. And she does all this like cool like two buns on the side of her head or just like she'll shave the sides of it. Yeah, she's rock and roll. She's cool.
Wow.
Yeah. I would love to be able to pull off any of her looks.
Definitely. Because
Yeah.
you do this kind of badass like horror show. I think people probably definitely want to identify you as some sort of like a cool haircut.
I'll take it.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like if I had long, flowing, pretty, like girly hair, it wouldn't fit me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's different because you don't want to look like a cookie cutter, right?
I know.
You gotta be different. You're an artist.
True, but then again, like I know some female comics who have really long, gorgeous hair, and they're fierce. You know what I mean? They're cool. They're super cool.
Yeah.
They just have really good hair.
Yeah, or like they have their own identity. Sort of like
Yeah.
I was listening to Whitney Cummings' podcast, and she said like she always put her hair up. She feel like people don't understand being a female comic is also like kind of like sports. You're on stage, you're moving a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For physical, and I've noticed that that's actually become kind of a style lately. Is the slicked back ponytail? Like I feel like Eliza kind of started that, and then Whitney was doing it, and then Chelsea Handler's latest special, her hair's like.
Right. And
I
Taylor
guess.
Thompson, they all.
But it makes sense though, especially if they're filming, they don't want their hair in their face.
And also you get it on the mics, may
Yeah.
affect like the audio and
Yeah.
everything. I think that makes sense.
So
right?
there is something to that. Like
Yeah.
for me, like I kept my hair like this. I just kind of flat ironed it really perfectly. And I mean, but we sprayed it a lot, so it did not get in my face.
I think your face shaped very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't have long enough hair to do a super nice like back pony like Whitney could do. My hair's just not long enough. But I feel like it worked. It worked for me
Yeah.
because the dress had a really high collar. Like, do you know Wednesday Addams? the show. It's on fire right now on Netflix. Wednesday. She's got that white collar that goes all the way up.
Oh, that's like your outfit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So it
cool.
kind of worked to have my hair framed right around it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like your face shape.
Thank you.
Yeah, because like it fits your hairstyle very well.
I think so. I think I'm gonna keep it like this for a while.
Yeah, you never know, right?
It's a lot of work though.
Do you want any hand sanitizer?
Ooh, is that a lavender something?
This is lavender. This is like different ones. You know, nowadays it's like always sanitize your hands a lot. I do that a
I'll
lot.
go lavender.
You want to do this?
Yeah, spray me, baby.
Yeah, spray you. Also, Sam, thank you so much for being in my car doing this podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have anything to plug?
I mean, I'd like to borrow this car.
Totally. I'm gonna give you a ride. You know, next time you do a special, I'll be your driver. You like
drive it around town.
You're like an Asian driver. I'm actually a really good driver.
I believe you. I would drive around town with you any day.
Yeah, I would take you drifting.
That would be so cool.
Yeah,
let's
do
drift
that.
and do some donuts and shit.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to plug?
Yeah, I mean, definitely just if you're ever in the Los Angeles area, please come to Horror Nerd. It's every third Friday of the month. You could follow me on Instagram at the Samantha Hale. I'm always posting cool, fun content from all my weird comic friends. Yeah, and then my goal this year is I'm hoping to do a panel at Monsterpalooza. That's my goal this year.
Oh wow, that's so fun.
Yeah.
I love you have so many fun, like, the horror ideas, like, very creative.
Yeah. And you know what it was the hardest part of all that was just figuring that out.
Yeah,
Honestly, like
process.
this cool idea and brand for myself, it was under my nose the whole time. It just took me years to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
I feel like your show will take off because like it's so different.
That's the idea.
I haven't seen anything
Thank
like
you.
that. Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you guys. Catch me in the car. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.